Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello, hey everybody, and Sandy.
And Miss Sandy, yes, of course, has
They're
to
both
join the
in here,
stream.
so if you hear a cat fight, sorry about it.
Yeah. A little geriatric boxing match or go on. It's okay. We're here for it.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's a regular occurrence around here. So,
Yeah. Well, surprise. Are you guys sick of us this week yet?
well, boy,
Oh,
we had a hell of a surprise today, didn't we?
yeah, we all woke up to some pretty big news and decided that we couldn't possibly wait until next week to talk about this. So here we are. And if you know, you know, but obviously we are talking about the extradition of Noreen Vallow.
This
Lori,
mugshot is just—it's going to be in my nightmares.
what up, Lori? I know. I
She
said,
looks real happy to be there.
is this taking your meds or not taking your meds? I'm not really sure,
My
but
God, that's like a she looks like she's a realtor, like this
right.
is a smiley realtor picture for her social media. Like what the
Hmm.
hell?
A realtor you wouldn't go with because you're absolutely certain they would screw something up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What the man? She looks very happy to be in Maricopa County, doesn't she?
Well, maybe just being back in Arizona suits her.
Eh,
So
I don't know.
Maricopa County is very proud of themselves.
Oh boy.
This is a long game of damage control, considering that had they, arrested her for Charles's murder, we probably wouldn't be here for all the rest of it. But, we can sing it to the rooftops, but it is what it is. But
Right.
they're very, very proud of themselves right now. And because of that, they've taken
Hmm.
great notes and put them out into the world. So I have
Haven't they though?
a compilation of videos that they have created and put out here in the last 24 hours. So we're going to watch that first and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. So I'm going to cue that up
Hmm.
and get rid of us. But this is them bringing her in, getting her ready for booking. And of course, doing all of the booking procedures. This was in the middle of the night. They actually arraigned her at 2 a.m. And now here she is in her jail jammies. It cracks me up, this big contingency. You've got 4 sheriff's deputies leading her around, which, I mean, she is a convicted murderer, so I'll give you that. But she's also a very small, frail lady that couldn't be hard to overpower. And there you go. There's that fancy shot. And now the arraignment.
2673.
All right. So Ms. Vallow, you are appearing here on 2 cases. These are both grand jury warrants. What that means is that the grand jury here in Arizona has indicted you on 2 charges. The first case is CR 2022-001242-001. You're being charged in that case with 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. It is a Class 1 felony committed on October the 2nd of 2019. The second case is CR 2021-001704-001. And in that case, you're also being charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. It is also a Class 1 felony. That offense allegedly occurred on July 11th of 2019. Now, I do have to advise you of your right to have an attorney and the right to remain silent. I will appoint counsel for you in both cases. I have a court date coming up for you. It's called the not guilty arraignment hearing. Give me just a second. That hearing is going to take place in the downtown Phoenix Superior Court in our Central Court building. And the date is going to be next Thursday, December 7th at 8:30 in the morning. In both cases, you've been extradited from the state of Arizona. You're currently under the jurisdiction of the Idaho Department of Corrections. That makes you non-bailable at this hearing. So you're not eligible for bail in either case. You do have your court date. You know a lawyer is going to be appointed for you. Do you have any questions?
Are those cases going to be combined, or are they going to be done separately?
Well, they are 2 separate cases, but they're going to be handled at the same hearing.
Okay.
Okay. So you can talk to your lawyer, but they are 2 separate cases, which means that you'd have 2 separate proceedings going forward if it goes to trial.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, Ms. Vallow?
Just one attorney, or more attorneys will be assigned to?
Well, at this point in time, you're likely going to have the one lawyer represent you at this particular hearing. What the Maricopa County Public Defender does at this point in time with respect to who they assign for counsel for you, or how many lawyers you have, or anything like that, that will be between you and your lawyer.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
So you're saying that will I get to talk to them before that arraignment hearing, or will just at that arraignment hearing they'll be assigned?
Well, typically you do meet your lawyer at that arraignment hearing. Under the circumstances of this case, they may reach out to you before that hearing to have discussions with you. There is also a telephone number that you're going to have on your paperwork that will be able to connect you with the Maricopa County Public Defender's Office.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Vallow. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you.
Story of interest, not just here in Arizona, but I know across the nation. Just after midnight last night, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office deputies booked Lori Vallow into our ITR facility. 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of premeditated first-degree murder. She was extradited from Pocatello, Idaho, where she was already in their Department of Corrections there in custody at one of the prisons. We sent 4 deputies there by car. Normally we would fly, our extradition team would fly to pick it up, but because of weather conditions, we felt that it was more predictable and more within our control that if we were going to transport her, that we wouldn't have to deal with any kind of weather conditions or air travel challenges. So our deputies left on the 27th for Idaho, arrived there, stayed for a day to prepare, and brought her back. We sent 2 extradition deputies, a supervisor, and 1 deputy from our K-9 division, but it's just because she's a female deputy. We want to make sure there was a female accompanying suspect Vallow in her travel back. It was about an 18-hour trip. In my statement, as you saw, I talked about the fact that we do about 250 plus extraditions every year. So this is not new for them. The uniqueness or maybe the circumstances involved in this particular case are very high profile and much to the interest of our local and national audience. I don't want to diminish it. It is what we do, as I stated, and we do it very well. Whether it is her or any other fugitive who's wanted in the state of Arizona, we're going to facilitate transfer into our custody so the prosecutor's office can prosecute them effectively. She had her initial appearance at about 2 a.m. when she was remanded without bond. So the case will now be in the hands of the county attorney. While in our custody, at the conclusion of whatever happens with the court case, she will then be returned to Pocatello to their Department of Corrections. So I want to thank them for their cooperation and facilitation of this also. And I also want to just recognize and express gratitude to our team here, the deputies that spent 4 days on the road to bring her back safely. We do have a really, really good video for you, which I can't show you right now, but we'll get it to you of bringing her into the jail where you get a good look at the process, the initial process of her custody. So I don't, there's not a whole lot more depth to it than that. I just want to make sure you heard from me the status of it, and I'm happy to answer a few questions if they're related to this case.
Sure.
I'll start with
I was going to say, will she be kept in any sort of segregated situation, or is she going to be in just booked regularly in which jail?
Yeah, no, that is a good question. She will be. She's deemed to be high security, so she'll be isolated in a high security area, the Estradited jail.
Can you tell us what goes into a process such as this? You've dealt with high-profile inmates in the past. That's not new, but obviously this planning has been going on, I would assume, for some time.
It has, and we wanted to make sure that it was. During my tenure as sheriff, I feel like our focus has always been about being really fundamentally sound and less about the bells and whistles. And the men and women who put the planning and preparation took everything into consideration. As I said, we had challenging weather conditions. The last thing we wanted to do was try to fly and get stuck in an airport where suddenly now we're in a space where there's a lot of community members and others, and it takes an extensive period of time. If we're going to travel that road, we need to make sure that we had the appropriate vehicles. As I said, we sent a female deputy to make sure that we had a female deputy accompanying a female inmate. We sent those from our fate detail, and Extraditions facilitated this because we're the best at managing any kind of transfer of custody or apprehension of those deemed to be dangerous. And make no mistake about it, sometimes I think we look at a person and judge them by appearance, and we go, well, this is a relatively moderate-sized female. What kind of a threat can she be? She is as much, if not more, of a threat to the harm of others as any other dangerous criminal we've had in our custody. So we figure out the entire route and map the challenges of where we're going to stay, how we make sure that our employees get the rest necessary to come back safely. I think it was an 18-hour drive back. Is that correct? About 18 hours? Yeah. So we'll call it planning an extensive road trip that just happens to include bringing back a dangerous fugitive.
Can you clarify this part, though? You said at some point she'd be brought back to Idaho to Pocatello, but this court case here, we don't know how long that's going to take. She has an arraignment coming up, and she has an appeal process in Idaho. Will she be housed here for the duration of this case in Maricopa County?
She'll be housed here until the conclusion of her case, and then once there is a conclusion, that the county attorney and their attorney there will have to determine. I would imagine that she'd have to return to spend her time there, and then whatever time, either it's going to be consecutive, concurrent, whatever the outcome is. But I'm just being respectful of the fact that she is in their custody, and now she's been transferred to us for the specific case.
I know initially.
Let me just check the rest of the room before I come back to you. Anybody got questions left? Hey, Rick, how are you, buddy? Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I
understand.
I have two, but what was her demeanor like during this process?
I understand that she was very sociable the entire trip. Talked quite a bit.
About what?
Oh, that's between the deputies, the courts, and the prosecutor, apparently. I don't know that she gave any specific statements related to the investigation, but I just know that they said she was very chatty.
And I'll just add to that, I know initially maybe there weren't plans to extradite her until after the appeal process in Idaho was concluded. Why did that change?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's something probably that I'm sure maybe Rachel Mitchell can answer to the county attorney. She would know more about the specifics on any court-related elements.
So with that said, who ultimately makes the call? Is it between MCAO and then you, and the green light is given, and then you say, okay, here we go, you guys ready for the trip that we planned? Is Idaho involved in that? Like, who ultimately makes that call? Because this kind of happened pretty quickly.
No, not so much. We just kept it under wraps because we didn't want to, I don't like to talk about things until we execute on them and carry out our duties. So the legal sides of the extradition relative to their willingness to allow us to take custody of her here and hold her for trial here, that takes place at the prosecutorial level. Once there's a green light that she is going to be available for us to extradite here to Arizona, then we take it from there and do all the planning and handle all the operations.
You said it was an 18-hour drive back. Was it nonstop? Did you guys have to stop anywhere to rest, or just kind of what is that like when you have to drive someone like this across the country?
Well, I just know on drives that long, it's usually my family saying, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" But it's just stop for gas, stop for food, stop for rest stops, and make sure that we're being accommodating to the needs of the inmate. But get here as quickly as you can, without it being a danger to, as I said, we had 4 deputies, so I'm going to presume that they took turns driving, or if not, that they took time to rest, but they got back safely.
And there was no issues along the way?
No.
at rest stops?
No.
What's the
In this case, we used 2 4-wheel drive vehicles because we were going to be dealing with potential weather conditions. Not much more complicated than that. 4.
And I know we can't see the video, but we'll watch it later. Can you expand more what we'll see in the video when we do?
Yeah, I think you guys use the term perp walk. It's just her coming into the back parking lot of the ITR being brought into the facility, a short, exposure to the search process, transfer her into the, the jail clothing, and then at that point she just, goes into a cell waiting on her initial appearance. So it just gives you exposure to our team bringing her into the jail and getting a good look at this fugitive who's now in the custody of Maricopa County Sheriff's Office.
Any idea how much it costs to extradite her?
No, but I can get you that number. That's a good question. It's not cheap, but it's obviously money well spent.
Obviously, there was families that were impacted here.
Yeah.
Just what would you like to say to the families that were impacted here now, knowing that there's at least one step closer to closure in this case?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I mean, when I spent a lot of time working with victims, as you guys know, when I was my former agency. All that matters is, I pray for them, that their hearts will find a way to heal as best you can with significant loss like this. When it comes to the justice side of the ledger, the scales, I don't know that, successful prosecution, what the punishment is. I don't think there's anything that occurs in that space that really fills that void, and I don't know that. I'm sure some family members feel passionate about it. Others just kind of want to have their own path to overcoming this. So for me, just from one human to another, my heart breaks for them. Anybody who suffered a loss at the hands of an evil person like this, and I pray that they'll find peace.
Was there a time that the Sheriff's Department
We do. We have a plane that we use for extraditions. It's really just distance circumstances, because it's not a commercial plane like you'd see. The majority of our extraditions occur through commercial transport. But again, now you're dealing with circumstances where you're going to be in an environment with a lot of other people who are just community members and unaware of the circumstances, so it enhances the danger slightly. If you go into a location and suddenly there's a storm and your flight is delayed, then you're sitting in an airport for hours, if not days, delayed because of that. And we wanted to mitigate any of those potential unexpected obstacles, unexpected challenges, to make sure that we could get her back as quickly as possible.
Obviously, she's an accused murderer in this state, but overall, she was found guilty and convicted in Idaho. Have you followed the case at all leading up to this?
I don't, no. I mean, I'm familiar as much as you guys have reported. My team has briefed me, and it's not because I'm not interested, but I have a lot of other things that are pressing, timely, and specific to this organization that I focus on. So I know the devastation that's been left in the trail. I know the importance of making sure that this office handles our business professionally and efficiently. And, just to give you some context, as I said, 250 plus of these transfers a year that our extraditions team does. And our FATE team, who participate in, they're approaching 1,000 arrests of fugitives that are extremely dangerous, and many of which, if I threw out some names, you wouldn't even know who they were, but they're getting them off the streets, made the community a safer place. All right, let's.
Estrella right now.
Yeah, is she at Estrella? Is that where we got her? Yeah, that's our jail for female inmates, so she'll be housed there. We will get you the video immediately as soon as you leave here.
Just clarify the charges too. I think the courts have 2 different counts of conspiracy to commit murder.
Yeah, on the booking sheet, what I have is murder in the first degree, and then murder of first degree premeditated. The conspiracy element is more of like a, I'm trying to get the correct term, but just, it has to do with the process on how it was played out with others and everything. But at the end of the day, she's in for 2 counts of first degree murder, 1 premeditated. Yeah.
I also just have a quick question. Is that pretty typical?
You're hiding over there on me.
trying to become invisible. But,
Sure.
How common is that to kind of opt for the drive? I know you said weather played a main role, but in these sort of high-profile cases, is that more common? Not language around?
I wouldn't say that it's uncommon. It's not something that happens frequently, but it's remove the name, remove the circumstances, with the exception of it is a person wanted for a violent crime. Anytime we have that kind of heightened threat because of the danger of the other members of the community, then we're going to look at all these other factors that could impede or delay our travel. And if we feel like those things outweigh the benefit of getting in a car and driving, and though it's inconvenient, then we're going to get in a car and drive and do whatever's necessary to keep people safe. So it wasn't just so much her, it was all the circumstances involved. Yeah. All right, again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I appreciate your guys' time. Gratitude to our office and the men and women who do exceptional work every day. God bless.
All
Okay,
righty.
then. Did you see Justin Lum right there on the front row
Hey, Justin,
in the
yes.
press pool?
Hey,
Yeah. Yes. So there you have it. Sometimes I usually with press conferences cut out the Q&A, but I just thought that was interesting. I know some of the reporters'
Mhm.
questions were hard to hear, but his responses were interesting. Also, what a
Good
cool
questions.
sheriff. I liked him.
Well, very transparent, very used to talking to the press,
Mhm.
very not afraid for everything that they do to be on the front page.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty refreshing compared to what we experience here in Idaho, to be perfectly honest.
Absolutely. Really friendly with the press. I really like that interaction a lot.
After how rude about the press the hearing for Chad Daybell was yesterday, I was like, wow, that's a totally different situation.
Well, the Madison County Sheriff's Office was pretty rude with the press, to be honest. So
Yeah. So yeah, kind of interesting, but you can tell much bigger place, much more used to this whole situation, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was good.
Yeah, for sure.
I just
A
want to know what
couple
she
of
was
things.
blabbering about the whole time. Can
Okay,
you
yeah.
imagine?
I can imagine they've all heard a whole lot about how much Jesus loves her.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And knows her, and yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, the charges, you probably already know, but we'll just reiterate the charges are for the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux and the murder of Charles Vallow.
Yeah.
So, Brandon Boudreaux did put out a statement today. Justin Lum published this. Brandon said, "Today I am hopeful for a process that can bring about a small portion of closure to the many people who were affected by the actions of a few. It's taken several years and so much work by many people. In life, things rarely go as planned, and often we are quick to criticize and slow to gratitude. Of course, I wish many things happened differently, but today I choose gratitude towards those who are helping create accountability and hope that this process leads to healing and closure."
Yeah. It's kind of nice that at least one person could make a statement like that because they're not dead in this situation.
Yeah.
Considering how many are.
I haven't seen anything out of Kay Woodcock. There probably is something. I just haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either, but yeah, I would
But
imagine.
of course, this is JJ's dad and her brother Charles,
Mhm.
and so I'm sure they're feeling a lot of feels today too. But
Yeah.
yeah, so very interesting. I want to know if she had any notice that they were coming, or if they literally just walked into her celly and they were like, "Get up, you're out of here. You're going to Arizona. Bye." I kind of hope that's how it went.
I would imagine it probably did, because I would think giving an inmate a heads up can create problems. They may create problems.
Hmm. Yeah, I wondered.
The
I
2
kind of hope
a.m.
so,
arraignment
because
cracked me up.
I would like her to. This sounds vindictive as hell, and maybe I am, but I hope that she was scared. I hope she was startled. I hope it took her by surprise. I hope it sucked.
Well, it sucked for Charles and Brandon, so
Hmm.
and it's not like there's a big question about whether or not. I mean, here in Idaho, where we've all sat through her trial and heard the evidence against her, and a lot of that evidence that was presented is also evidence that was presented in her trials in Arizona. It's not like there's a big question that she was involved in these deaths. Well,
No.
in Charles' death and in the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux, we've already seen the evidence of that in the trial here. So
Yep.
I was thinking, though, that Idaho somehow feels a little lighter and a little less crazy today. I don't know.
Sorry about it, Arizona. Yeah,
Maybe we passed off one of our biggest problems to Arizona for a while.
at least for a while. Yes. So that's pretty much all there is to say. That's what's up. I'm curious to know, what do you think she talked about? Share it in the comments. I want to hear it. Do your
I'm
best.
dying. I said earlier it was word salad with a side of Jesus.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's exactly what it was.
Well,
Yep.
remember how she talked like on the body cam footage and stuff the day that Charles was murdered?
Mm-hmm.
Remember how chatty and
Yeah.
bubbly and smiley and blah, blah, laughing and stuff she was? She was probably just like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Creepy as hell is what that is.
For sure. However, it was a tiny bit interesting when they asked what did she talk about, that he said that's between her and law enforcement and the prosecutor.
Yeah.
Oh, did she say things?
I mean, would
Maybe
I
she
be
did.
surprised if she did? No.
And the next big question of the hour, of course, is going to be: are either of these cases going to get cleared at trial?
Yeah.
It would be
Are they?
insanity for them to, but we are dealing with insanity, so who the hell knows?
Right. She's got nothing but time, and that would be lots of
Yeah.
attention. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that would be her only motivation. I mean, at this point,
Mhm.
she's already serving 3 life sentences in Idaho.
Yeah.
Why not?
Of course, maybe she's feeling real confident with her appeals. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows what she's thinking right now?
Or maybe Jesus is coming back this July. Who knows? I mean, who
Maybe.
knows what's in her head? But
I think we already
anyway,
missed the rapture a couple of times in October, I heard this
mhm,
year. So who knows?
tough to say. So we'll keep a very close eye on this, obviously.
Oh,
So
we surely will.
there you be. All righty. Well, thanks so much for being here. We will be back next week with all new stuff. 2 brand new Patreons will drop today. So if you're a patron,
Hmm.
keep an eye out for those. I know mine is wild as hell. I'm excited to hear yours.
Well, we're going to be talking about Twin Flames Universe, so you know it's wild as hell.
Indeed.
Hmm.
All righty, guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks for being here. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.